we have a quality that I dare saying is one of the 10 highest in the watchmaking art. Finished.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to AM Casa. Today, I have the great pleasure of interviewing a living legend of watchmaking, Mr. Jean-Claude Biver, who's gonna take us around and along his journey in watchmaking and his collecting perspective. Mr. Biver, thank you so much for taking the time and for being here with me.
Thank you for coming.
I think everyone that's passionate in watchmaking knows who you are because you did quite many things around. But who are you for yourself? Like, who is Jean-Claude Biver for you?
For me, I am a man who has a lot of doubts.
Okay.
And beside the doubts, he has an enormous passion, a passion for life, and a passion for watches. In addition to this, I love my family. Without my family, I am nobody. And this is easy to say, but it's really the truth. My family is essential for my equilibrium.
Yeah.
Which sometimes I believe is a weakness for me. It means that alone I am nobody. And in life, I have noticed that I became rich, not in money, but rich in knowledge, rich in experience, rich in living, thanks to the people.
Yes, indeed.
People made me. And the same happens to success. My success has only been the success of my people. And I, in a certain way, I have always been the trainer of the team, but it's not me who was playing and putting the goals. It was the players. So, sometimes I have doubts to get compliments because I have to say it's not me, it's my people.
Sure, but it's your strength in,
Somehow,
coaching them somehow.
yes,
Super.
somehow I am like Jose Mourinho
Yeah, sure.
or Sir Alex. They have not been the best players, but they are the best trainers, sure. And that's it. So I am a trainer of the watch industry.
And that's super important. And indeed, I've studied your story a bit. And you told me just a few seconds ago you started in 73. And you started with Monsieur Piguet, right? And
yes.
then Gollet,
yes.
and then Hayek and everything.
Yes.
What do you think they saw in you? Because you were super young, but for all your life, even the people that were more successful maybe or in higher position than you has always chosen you. What was your X factor somehow?
I think my X factor, one of my X factor was my passion. When you work with passion, you work totally different. Passion enables to go to elements that you would never think about it without passion. Passion has no limit. And passion is a kind of love. Because love is not just between a man and a woman. Love means also respect. Love means I share. Love means I forgive. Love means I am honest. This is what I call love. It's a global attitude. And this global attitude is something that I care of. And this brings me my equilibrium. This brings me my richness. I become rich thanks to my ethics. The ethics are extremely important for me, like my family, like these are the elements. And if many people today have no love, They just work for money, for success. But where is the love?
Yeah.
And some people, I'm astonished, they have been working at Apple, and then they move, and then they are at Fiat,
Yeah.
and then they move again. They are at Hewlett Packard, and then again. So I say to myself, what a pity. I at least never I moved, but always in the same field. And the field was the field of my passion. And my passion is watches, which doesn't mean that I only love watches. I love other things. I love
Yep.
life. I love people. I love food.
That's why you love Italy.
I love Italy for many elements, not only food. It's much deeper than food, and that's me. That's how I would define myself.
Well, thank you for that. I love
Yeah.
that. But passion for watches. It's been more than 50 years you're in the industry.
Yes,
How did you keep your passion? Because did you not get bored about watches?
you can never get bored about love.
Yes, that's true.
Love is in your blood, and you cannot get bored about the love of your mother,
Yes.
or the love of your father, or the love of your husband, or the love of your friends. It's like, how can I retire? You cannot retire from a passion. You can retire from a job, but not from a passion. Finished. So the problem to get sick or to get tired about love is crazy. It doesn't mean anything to me. And when you get tired about love, that is for me the proof that you didn't love.
Correct. Correct. I never saw it that way. Thank you. And around your career overall, you've done quite many different things. But when did you start collecting as well? Because we all know you have been and you still are a collector.
Why did I collect? I started to collect when I realized that the high quality and the exceptional pieces cannot only come from me. That are other people that do even better than me, other people that I admire more than me, other people that are more successful than me. When you realize this, it motivates you to get higher, but it motivates you also to be associated. And one day, Mr. Philip Stern from Patek asked me, "Why do you collect my Patek Philippe?" I said, "Because I admire you, and as I cannot work for you, at least I can have you in my safe. And from time to time, I can have you also on my wrist." And that means I respect people. I admire, and I'm not jealous about others. This is generosity. And generosity is something that typical managers are forgetting.
That is true. That is indeed true. And so you started with Patek Philippe directly?
No, I started. I started with. In fact, the first watch was an Omega Constellation that my grandfather gave me for my first communion. The first communion, you are 8 years old, and it was a tradition in certain families in Luxembourg, but also in France, especially in France, that the grandfather offers a watch to the young boy that is 8 years old that goes for the first time in church.
Happens to us as well.
And he has the watch that grandpapa gave him on the wrist. After the lunch of the first communion, it's maybe 5 or 6 o'clock in the evening, and before going to bed, the kid has to give the watch back
Okay.
to, at least to my mother, because she said, this watch You cannot wear till you can wear it once you are 18 years old.
Sure.
In the meantime, I put it in our safe, and it's your watch. And you know, Grandpapa has also written your name on the back, so it was in the safe. When I became 20, she gave me the watch. Said, "Ah, now you have the watch of your grandfather. I gave it to you." She gave it to me. I put it on the wrist. I was very proud. Blah blah blah. And one day I went skiing, and she said, "Be careful. You don't go with your watch skiing." I said, "Yeah, Mama, why not? It's a normal watch, blah, blah, blah." And I went skiing, and I lost the watch. When I came back from skiing, the watch was no more on my wrist. It had gone. And that moment, I said, I lost only my watch, I lost the love of my grandfather. This was irrespectful of his present. I should be careful with the watch, and be careful with the watch also respecting grandpapa. And you didn't respect him, and you just lost the watch. So it was a shock. It was an emotional. I felt guilty versus myself. And that moment, tick, something happened for me in my brain and in my heart about watches. I became conscious that a watch is not just for indicating what time it is. The watch was a present of my grandfather, and it was a present not for today, it was a present for eternity. That watch that he gave me for the first communion, I should have kept it till till I die. That was the real sense. And this I realized. And by realizing this, that brought me very naturally to collecting watches.
Sure.
Because by collecting watches, you collect also eternity. You collect mastery. You collect beauty. You collect exclusivity.
Archery, yes.
And that brings you in another in another world.
Yes, indeed. And well, was it because of that that then you ended up in Omega years later?
No, that was by chance. I ended up at Omega because my brother, Mark, he worked for Omega. He was the boss, the director of Omega Sports Timing.
Okay.
Omega was the timing of the Olympic Games, etc., etc., and that was under the management of my brother. And one day he said to me, "You know, we have a new marketing boss called Fritz Amann, and Fritz Amann asked me about you." I said, "What?" "Yeah, he said that I should talk about Omega to him, and that's what I'm doing. So if you are interested, you can have a meeting with Fritz Amann." I said, "Why not?" And I had a meeting with Fritz Amann, and he employed me. And that was my first job out of AP.
Yes.
I had been 5 years or 6 years in AP, and I felt I needed more. I was young, I was ambitious, I wanted more responsibilities, I wanted a bigger brand. So I said, wow, that's Omega, I can do. And I left for Omega.
That's amazing. What clicked when you went to Blancpain? Because you've always been working for a company, and then something changed because then it was
Something
also your
changed
company.
because I felt at a certain moment that the mechanical watch had a future for people like me, for the younger generation that has the sensitivity for tradition in those days at least. And I said, there must be a market, and we should buy, or we should make a brand to come back with traditional watches, because everybody was talking Swatch, collecting Swatch watches.
What do you think about that?
And
Collecting swatches.
why not? Because Swatch is a fantastic, extraordinary concept.
today?
Watches at 50 Swiss francs coming from Switzerland, 100% Swiss made, with extraordinary design, with extraordinary marketing, with a disruption, a conceptual disruption. I think Swatch was extraordinary. And the millions of pieces that Swatch sold helped the entire Swiss industry, wow, to redevelop and to beat the Japanese finally. So I'm a big admirer of Swatch, and I really think it's just fantastic to make such a watch and it was the first big solid disruption. The second disruption was made by Audemars Piguet because they were in luxury, that's not Swatch at all, but suddenly they came out with Royal Oak, which was luxury in steel. And before that, no watches of high end were made in steel. They were made in platinum or gold. And steel. Then they had screws, visible screws. Then it was water resistant. Luxury was ultra thin for the cocktail, and suddenly, bam, it was a strong watch. So Royal Oak was a disruption. And today, I love Royal Oak because they were the first big disruptor of the Swiss luxury. And I love Swatch because they were the first to come out with a concept for 50 Swiss francs that was not just cheap. It was 50 Swiss francs. It was accessible for many people and it was collectible.
Sure.
I mean, and where did Swatch have the biggest success? In Italy, because the Italian, they understood who was the first buyer of Royal Oak. Italy, because the Italian understood.
Thank you.
Italy was always ahead.
Is it still today?
No, not today.
Okay. Okay.
Unfortunately, Italy lost a little bit of its leadership as in watches, a little bit. They still have it in cars, in furniture. They still have a lot. But in watches, they are not anymore our first market. But it might come back.
You still have clients for Beaver now with Italy?
Yes. Thanks. Yes, certainly. We have clients from many places, but the Italians, they also understand understatement.
Yeah.
And Beaver watches are typically the understated watch. It's the watch that doesn't show who or what you have on your wrist. It's I say, we try to master the invisibility. And the invisibility is where the soul is. And we try to bring the soul of the watch on your wrist. And we want the soul to protect you. We want our watches to have a kind of spiritual significance, to be not just material, to be something that has some spirituality in it. And perfection is very spiritual. And perfection is close to eternity.
Yes, indeed. And it's hard to achieve.
And it's very hard to achieve. Normally, you achieve it once you have died.
Unfortunately, so. Indeed.
As long as you live, it's difficult. As soon as you die, you can get it.
You have done watches for all your life, I would say.
Yes.
Everyone remembers you as a marketing guy, but I think that you're not just a marketing guy. You understand product, you understand people. So, was marketing that important for you? Because someone told me also like stories about what you did in Italy with San Siro. Is it true that you found a way of making San Siro more visible for Omega? Or
yes. Just to come back, what is Swatch? Swatch was a genius creation with incredible strong disruption, and we had a very strong marketing. Swatch. But Swatch also had an extraordinary technical development. They invented a mechanic that they could sell for 50 Swiss francs. So you always need
The two aspects.
the two aspects. Just marketing is not enough. Only technique is not enough. But technology and creativity together, that's what you need. And I have probably discovered this at a certain moment. And I said, there is no shame to bring marketing and to mix it together with technology or with creativity. We need both. And some people were more sensitive on my marketing side. Some others were more sensitive on my creativity side. So it depends with whom you talk. But from time to time, people had, but you are too much marketing, or you are too much technology. So it's the two. And I think I found in my life finally a kind of right equilibrium between technology and creativity.
Well, now with Beaver, you have a lot of technology, I would say.
We have a lot of
creativity as
technology, but also a lot of tradition.
Yes.
We try really to have the right equilibrium between the two. It's like a cocktail that you drink. You cannot have too much Campari, but you also need a little bit of water, not too much water. So you need the right equilibrium.
Sure. And why did you start with a watch that chimes? Why did you choose that and not another complicated? Like, why did you choose?
Because it's the highest, it's one of the highest complication you can do. I believe that a chiming watch, maybe we find 200 watchmakers in the world, on planet Earth, who can master a chiming watch. And I say 200 in order not to forget one or two. But eventually it's even less than 200. It's a quite difficult achievement. Once you have achieved to produce as a watchmaker a minute repeater, which is a chiming watch, you are close to the top. There is not much above. Above are the grand complication, but that's it. So if we compare with the Alps, minute repeater is already 8,000 meters. It's not the Everest, but it's close. It's 8,000 meters. Ultra slim, that's the Mont Blanc.
Okay.
Not bad also, but it's...
Okay.
So there are degrees of difficulty, and minute repeater is close to the highest level of difficulty. And I always said with Blancpain and now with us that I want to be close to the top. And to be close to the top in the history of watchmaking is the minute repeater.
Yeah, which is also, I think, maybe the rarest watch we
And
can
it's
find.
also the rarest. You find exactly. The total production in the world is also probably 200 a year.
Yeah.
Eventually, I don't know exactly, but it's a rare watch. Yes.
So, you did Blancpain, you sold Blancpain, you went back to being more of a corporate person, and then you came back to your own brand with your son. Why that? Why didn't you stay, for example, in LVMH and, I don't know, take care of the relaunch of Genta or anything?
Because I came close to 80 years old. I'm now only in my 77th year. So,
Okay.
and if I if I take the average age before people die, one can say at 77 you maybe have 20 more years to go. But 20 years is a lot, but on the other side is very little. So as I am close to the end, I said, before I leave, I have to give back. I have to give back as long as I'm alive. To give back once you are dead is difficult.
Yeah, very much so.
So, time has come for me to give back, and the best way to give back is to make with your son your own brand. That was the idea. Plus, I must be honest, plus came the idea, if you develop your own brand at your age, you will finally enjoy the highest satisfaction, because finally it will be your watch, your name, your brand. So let's do it. Bam! And
You
I
get
did
to 8,000 meters, then you enjoy the view
Exactly.
in the end. Yeah.
it. Exactly.
For sure, I get that. And nowadays, so how do you see that we're evolving? Because you came in the industry with your brand with a very specific watch. It was also for someone polarizing, because somebody considered it very high price, somebody considered too much maybe. But how do you feel nowadays? Because now you're an independent, and I think you belong in the independent.
I feel, first of all, I feel privileged to be able to do that. Number two, I feel proud to achieve a quality that is more or less unique. We have a quality that I dare saying is one of the 10 highest in the watchmaking art. Finished. It's not, there are not 20 or 30 brands that can achieve such a high quality. Our quality is enormous. And the quality we have is nearly close to spirituality, because the highest quality is also married to eternity. And when I remember what Mr. Gucci, the Italian leader for fashion, said long time after my clients have forgotten the price they paid for the item, they always remember the quality. So the price you forget, the quality is still there. And that is what I want to do in watches. And that element, this philosophy, is clearly comes close to eternity, comes close to God, perfection. God is perfection. God is eternity. And that is this, to try to come close to those elements, that's my biggest satisfaction.
And that's your biggest goal for
And that's my goal for my life.
fair,
My life.
fair and square.
Voila, that's a lifetime. That's the goal, and I want people to remember this at the end.
And they will remember you as well, because
Yeah, a little bit. Yes, okay. Why not?
So you've done 2 watches now. You've done your first modular caliber, and what is coming next, if we may? Because the industry has evolved a lot since when you started, and I mean,
Yes. What comes next? Next cannot be higher than what we do now.
okay,
We are at the highest possible level. So what comes next is the interpretation of that level of quality in other movements.
okay,
Now we have 2 movements, minute carillon, and we have our minute second hand automatic. Now, what about another movement, an additional movement, for instance, like a chronograph, which we don't have? So next should be the same quality, the same concept, the same care, the same exclusivity, but in another movement. So the art of watches, of making watches, is quite big, and we select a few, like the chronograph, and that should be our next step. Okay. The next step is to explore other movements in the world of watches.
And what's your favorite complication?
My favorite complication is two,
Okay.
not one. My favorite complication is on one side, the carillon,
Okay.
the sound. The sound is the emotion. Music is emotion. Music is love.
Do you play sometimes?
I don't play music.
No,
but I,
but with one.
yeah.
I mean,
So that's one of my favorite. And the second favorite is chronograph.
okay.
Because chronograph means action, means it moves. Chronograph is dynamic. Chronograph is sport. Chronograph is life. That's the second. So, two watches.
And one we have already, so that's why.
One I have already. The other one I must develop.
Sure. Very few questions lasting, but one I was super curious about because this, when I first learned about that, it struck me. Is it more difficult to make a good watch or a good cheese?
The two came from the same people. The first watchmakers of Switzerland were French. And they were not Catholic, they were Protestant. And these people coming from France, called the Les Huguenots, coming from France, they came to Switzerland, and a few of them were watchmakers. And they tried to produce watches, but in Switzerland nobody knew about watches. They were all farmers. And they were all making cheese. And every family had 10 children or 8 in those days. And usually one of the 10 kids or 2, they were making cheese during the winter time, and during the summertime they were taking care of the cows. So slowly, the French people taught, and more Swiss farmers tried to make also watches, and not only cheese. So cheese and watches, they come from the same origin. They were developed more or less at the same time. And that is why I love also cheese. I don't eat cheese just for the taste. I eat also cheese for the history, for the importance of the meaning. What does it mean? And the importance of the history. And this is why this region where we are now has always been the French. They came first here. They established themselves here in this region, not in Zurich, not in Ticino, but here, because it was so close to France. And watches comes from the origin of the watches are the farmers. And that is why I have cheese and watches.
I didn't know about that. Thank you. To conclude a bit, what do you think has most changed since you started in the industry overall? And what are you collecting now?
Now I'm collecting my own watches, which is difficult because priority is always given to customers, as we are always short in deliveries. I get no time, I get no occasion, I got no privilege, and I can never buy one of my own watches. Because my people say, no, Papa, leave it. It is already ordered. Somebody is waiting 6 months already. You cannot take it. So I'm still waiting for my to get a watch from me. What has also changed, there is a conscious for the watchmaking art. In the past, when I started, very few people were interested. The Italians were the leaders, but very few people. It was not general. Now you can open any magazine of any country. There's always a picture or a little article or a big one about watches. So the watchmaking art, especially the art, has now developed. Is more diffused as before. Before, only a few people were interested. Today, we feel there is an interest for the Renaissance, for rediscovering the art, discovering the values, discovering the philosophy, and that is something that is quite exciting because we don't feel alone. We feel that there are a lot of people ready to support us.
My last question is, if you were 20 today, what would you do? Watchmaking or not? I mean,
If I would be 20, I would start again 100% the same because I couldn't have done it better and because I couldn't have more pleasure than I had in these 77 years. I would repeat 100% same.
okay.
Don't change anything.
Thank you so much for being with us today and for all your insights. It was a true pleasure.
Thank
I
you
hope to
very
do
much.
a second episode in the future and learn more about you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for coming. Thank you.